Hey all you junior ecologists, welcome to the Ecology Corner. I'm your host, Ben Register, and today we're going to be learning about bees. Let's go see what all the buzz is about. Now, I understand that some of you might be a little scared of bees, but don't worry, if we respect our fuzzy friends, they shouldn't sting us. Some other things you might associate with bees, besides stings, are honey and hives like this one. These friends here are called honeybees, and they are not originally found in North America. Settlers from Europe brought these bad boys over to America for honey and pollination. Pollination is a big word that means helping plants to grow and multiply. But enough about honeybees. I actually want to focus on different bees today. That's right. Today's episode of the Ecology Corner is all about native bees. When I say that a species is native, it means that they have always lived in this area. Did you know that there are about 4,000 bee species that are native to North America? That's a lot of bees. Unfortunately, native bees don't get the same recognition as their honey-producing cousins. But they still play an extremely important role in all of our lives. Native bees help us out so much, and it's time for us to return the favor. Let's learn a little bit more about pollination. The bees fly all over looking for nectar and pollen, both of which are found in flowers. When a bee lands on a flower, pollen sticks to their little hairs. The bee then flies to other flowers in search of more nectar. When they land, the pollen that was stuck to the bee's body gets transferred to the new flower. This pollen combines with structures inside the flower and produces fruits with seeds that can grow into new plants. Isn't that neat? In this relationship, the bee gets food in the form of nectar and pollen, and the plant gets help reproducing. Depending on the species, a single bee can visit thousands of flowers each day. That's a lot of hard work.
But Ben, what does this have to do with us?
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you like to eat? I know I sure do. The U.S. agricultural system relies heavily on the honeybee, but honeybees can't do it all on their own. Lots of crops require additional pollination from native bees to produce the amount of food that humans demand. In fact, some organic farms have cut out the need for honeybees entirely by sustaining wild areas near their farms that attract native bees. It's estimated that native bees are responsible for pollinating about 80% of flowering plants around the world, and most crops depend on native bees for pollination, either alone or as a supplement to honeybee pollination. Some examples of these crops are squash, blueberries, cranberries, and apples. Tastes like sustainability. Unfortunately, native bees are in trouble. Their populations have steadily declined in recent decades, and 8 are listed on the endangered species list. If a species is endangered, it means that they're at risk for extinction. The cause for these population declines is unknown, but it's likely a result of several factors. One of these factors is pesticide use. Pesticides are good at killing pests, but they can also harm beneficial insects like bees. One harmful group of pesticides are called neonicotinoids, and they are known to poison bees. In Europe, many neonics are banned, but the US hasn't done nearly as much to prevent the use of these dangerous pesticides. Another issue that bees face is urbanization. As humans expand, we destroy natural areas that native bees call home. Lots of wild prairies that would have made good homes for bees no longer exist in the United States. As urbanization increases, flower availability often decreases, resulting in less available food for our native bee friends. The third threat to native bee survival that I want to talk about today is climate change. You may have heard of climate change from your parents or on the news. It's a really big topic that seems hard to understand sometimes. Essentially, human activity is causing the average temperature on Earth to rise. Global warming has many different effects on wildlife, and is having a negative impact on all kinds of bees. As temperatures rise, flowers begin to bloom earlier in the year. This shift creates a mismatch between the time when flowers are producing nectar and pollen and the time when bees are ready to feed on those resources. This disconnect can have negative effects on bee health and their ability to survive long term. Do you hear that, kids? I think it's the mail truck. Let's go see if we got any mail.
Yes, we got a letter.
Let's head up to the porch and give it a read. It says, "Dear Ben, native bees sure are important, and I really want to help their survival. What can I do?" From Kayla, age 10. Wow, thanks so much for writing in, Kayla. It's so awesome that you want to help native bees. Here's some fun ideas for you. You can work with your parents to create a bee-friendly yard. This includes native plants that bees like, such as asters, bee balm, purple coneflower, and black-eyed Susan. Bees also need water, so a small water dish or bird bath can help them out. Lots of native bee species burrow in the ground, so try not to use mulch in your garden because it prevents bees from digging. You can also build something like this. This is called a bee hotel, and it's a great resource for native bees. Some species like to use small holes to lay their eggs, and these structures provide those spaces. This one is fancy, but bee hotels are really easy to make at home. All you need is a box or a tube and something to create space for eggs. You can use bamboo or ask your parents to drill some holes in a block of wood. Although planting a garden is great for your local bees, it won't do much for worldwide bee populations. Unfortunately, a lot of the issues that bees face are influenced by politics, which means that grown-ups like to argue about them a lot. US laws that protect bees have changed a lot recently based on who's in charge, so it's a great idea to encourage your parents to vote for candidates who really care about the environment. Whether it's a bumblebee, a carpenter bee, a sweat bee, a mason bee, or any other species, all native bees have an important role to play in nature, and we should all strive to support them and all of their hard work. Thank you so much for tuning into the Ecology Corner. I hope you learned a lot about how to be a good ecologist. I'm your host, Ben Register, and I'll see you next time.